Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today to this special Luxury Discoveries program. My name is Ignacio Massa, and I am privileged to be your host today. I think it's fair to say that after being confined for the better part of a year, we're all ready to start making travel plans and thinking about what's next. And I want to present some unique destinations and experiences to you today that are open for travel now. So you can visit all of these places in 2021. A word of caution, though, that because of strong demand, these trips and experiences are selling fast. So I recommend booking as soon as possible to avoid disappointment. I'm going to turn off the camera so as not to distract you from the beautiful images, and then I will uh, pick up again at the end. So let's get started. The theme today is Great Escapes in North America. And again, the focus is to present to you ideas that are possible right now. Much of the world is still closed to us. So I wanted to make sure that I presented possibilities for 2021, since many of us did not get to travel last year. I want to start with a resort that calls itself the last best place. And this is the resort at Paws. This is a working ranch with hundreds of elk and black Angus cows roaming the rolling pastures about 35 miles from Missoula Airport in western Montana. And I'm going to show you exactly where just in a moment. But this is a wonderful place because imagine it's a national park, except that it's private. So you have 100 miles of hiking trails, you have 10 miles on the Blackfoot River, you have residences with anywhere from 2 to 4 bedrooms, or you can sleep in a luxury tent, yes, glamping in Montana, with either 1, 2, or 3 bedrooms. And of course, the tents are available only May to October because of the weather, and the residences are available full all throughout the year. You have over 50 activities and experiences to choose from on property. So I promise you that even if you're here for a week, you're not going to run out of things to do. And of course, we are in Montana, so you will have an opportunity to have rodeos and cattle drives and chuck wagon dinners to get a taste of the West. And you won't go hungry, I promise you, because there are 2 restaurants on property, everything from casual to fine dining, and many opportunities to eat al fresco with barbecues and what have you. And the rate includes all meals, airport transfers, and many activities included in your rate. And as a signature client, you will receive a $300 activity credit and a welcome gift. So if you look at a map of Montana, you'll see the city of Missoula, and then this little red circle, and that is where Paws Up is located. So it's about 35 miles from Missoula Airport. And when you arrive, this probably will be the first place that you visit, and this is the hub of the resort. This is where you have your main restaurant, the lounge, the reception, and chances are sometime throughout the day you will stop here. As you can see, forests and trees and mountains as far as the eye can see, because this is, after all, a 37,000-acre property. Most of the residences are going to look something like this, and let me show you a couple of different kinds, and they are spread out throughout the property. And this is a category called the wilderness estates. These are quite spacious. They're anywhere from 1,000 to over 2,000 square feet of space, and they have multiple bedrooms, 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms on property. And I wanted to show you an interior so that you got a feel for what these residences feel like, and of course, your fireplace. And this is one of the bedrooms with a beautiful view of the forest outside. Another type of residence is the so-called Meadow Homes, which are a little bit more modern, but still very much in the Western theme and decor. And this would be your bedroom. And of course, one of the most requested categories here are these luxury tents, which are situated in clusters in different parts of the property. Some are closer to the river, further to the river, on higher ground, on lower ground, but all spread out throughout the property in clusters of 6 to 8 different tents. So if you were traveling with family or with friends and you wanted everybody to have a tent and be close together, this absolutely can be arranged. Or if you're going as a couple or you just need a couple of tents, no problem, you will have these. And I promise you that you're not going to want for any creature comforts, because these are very wonderful tents with every possible comfort that you would need. And of course, bathrooms and showers and all the rest, but you are still sleeping in a tent. So just wanted to give you a sense of the choices that are available. Say that you wanted to come as a couple and you wanted something a little bit more modern and a retreat from the rest of the estate, then I'm happy to report that the Green O at the resort at Paws is opening this June and open for reservations. And this is a new modern wilderness retreats with these secluded accommodations, these standalone residences with floor to ceiling glass, a very different design than the rest of the resort. And you have a choice of either light, green, round, or tree house. And I'm going to show you one in just a moment. These are quite big, anywhere from 900 to over 1,000 square feet of space. And there is a hub, there's a restaurant with a lounge. So think of this as a resort within a resort. So the folks staying at the Greeno have their own area and you have access to everything on property. And this is an area that is adults only, because the rest of Paws Up is absolutely family friendly, and you will find that there will be many families staying on property. And here again, you will receive your $300 activity credit when you book through a signature advisor. And let me show you a couple of photographs. These are renderings because the rooms have not been finished, but they will be for June 1. As you can see, very modern, very bright. And this is what it would feel like from inside the living room, looking out towards nature. As you can see, privacy. And if you were coming in winter, then this would be the view from your bedroom, just this winter wonderland right outside your door. Many activities to choose from, as I mentioned earlier, over 50 options throughout the week. Things that you might expect, you're fishing, which of course this is Mecca for fishermen, horseback riding, biking and hot air balloon and all the rest. But you also have fun activities like backcountry safaris, and you have cattle drives, and you have helicopter tours, and there is an adventure park right within the resort. Again, the range of options is absolutely amazing. So let me show you some pictures. The fishing, of course, is supreme, and people come from all over the country and the world to fish here, just because of the trout and the abundance of fish in these wild rivers. And if you wanted to, you would have the opportunity to spend the better part of the day at this island lodge, which is yet another fishing venue. Just wanted to give you the option that is also available on property. The horseback riding is terrific. This is, of course, in the fall when the trees start to change, but all throughout the estate, there's everything from go-karts, which are so much fun for children, to rappelling for those of you that are very adventuresome, to canoeing, or going on a mountain bike. And if you're feeling really, really adventurous, then nothing like the adventure center that you have with these challenge ropes and all of these things, so that you can find the Tarzan in you, and sort of enjoy the wild adventures. And another fun thing to do on property is to get up early and go up in one of these balloons with these fantastic views of the estate. And I have a couple of pictures just to remind you that Paws Up is open all throughout the year. And this is a wonderful place to come in winter for skiing, for adventures on in this case, cross-country skiing and snowshoeing and what have you, and of course, adventures on snowmobile, which are so much fun. So I hope when you're thinking of an idea for a get-together, a reunion, a celebration, perhaps a family gathering, or as a getaway for couples that want to enjoy the outdoors, please keep the resort at Paws Up in mind. The next option I want to share with you is enjoying Alaska and the Western National Parks, but in a way that is elevated and private and very special. And the company that I recommend that can do a great job of this is TCS World Travel. And TCS is the leader in private jet travel for over 25 years. Every single trip is custom built and the journeys are all inclusive. And along the way, you will find what they call surprise and delight, which are these unexpected experiences that happen along the way. So let me give you two ideas. And again, these are just suggestions because TCS can create something from scratch, but I just want to give you an idea of what's possible. So I have picked a couple of 10-day journeys. So the first one is going to Alaska, but Alaska using private aircraft. So the recommended dates for this part of the world would be May to September because of the weather. And this would be beginning and ending in Anchorage, Alaska, which of course Anchorage is easy to get to with flights from many parts of the U.S. So to keep it simple. But this itinerary features some of the most beautiful scenery in southern Alaska, including Mount Alyeska, the Chugach Mountains, Prince William Sound, glaciers and icebergs, and all kinds of different terrain, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, and the opportunity for you to go trekking and hiking and biking and all of these adventures, and also a chance to stay in wonderful lodges that are very remote and very hard to get to, but are absolutely wonderful and represent, in my humble opinion, some of the very best that Alaska has to offer. And again, this itinerary can be customized or extended. Here's a map of Alaska, and the circle here is just to show you where Anchorage is located. And most of the time, what I'm going to show you is in and around the Kenai Peninsula, south of Anchorage, just to keep it simple. This might not look very big to you, but to put it in perspective, Alaska is twice the size of Texas. So this is an absolutely enormous state. So I'm just keeping it to this region to make it manageable. So one of the first areas that you will have a chance to explore is the Chugach mountain range, which is not too far from Anchorage. And your first hotel where you would stay is the Alyeska in a place called Girdwood, which is the best place to stay, only because it is a wonderful base camp to explore the area. So one of the most fun activities is to go glacier trekking in this part of the world, which is absolutely wonderful. Perhaps go kayaking in Spencer Lake with these giant icebergs, or go to Prince William Sound, which is absolutely gorgeous. This was discovered by Captain Cook in the 18th century, and you spend a day here in a private motorboat exploring hidden corners of this magnificent sound. From here, you will get on one of these float planes on a private basis, and will fly you over this spectacular flight, which is an attraction in its own right, to this place, to Winter Lake Lodge, which is very beautiful. It's very remote. It only has 5 units, and even though you're in the middle of nowhere, and you truly are, there is a cordon bleu trained chef on property that delivers outstanding dining. So trust me, you're not going to go hungry. And while you're staying here, you will have opportunities for heli adventures, for fishing, for biking, for hiking, and of course, taking in this absolutely beautiful scenery. Here's another photograph of the lodge, just to give you a sense of these cabins and how they are set up. And then the minute you walk out your door, you have just this magnificent scenery. As I mentioned, you have great chances to explore by helicopters that, of course, can land just about anywhere. The fishing is phenomenal in this part of the world, and I am certain that you're going to have great opportunities to spot wildlife. And if you get lucky, you will have a chance to spot a grizzly bear. I hope not this close, but you will definitely see wildlife during your stay in this part of Alaska. And then from here, once again, by float plane, you will fly over to this lodge called Tutka Bay, also very, very remote, as you can see. and the cabins are all spread out but connected by these boardwalks as you are right on top of the water. And you will have a chance to explore this area, which is called Kachemak Bay. And you have these beaches. Some of them, as you can see, have black sand because some of these areas of Alaska are volcanic. But the vistas are absolutely fantastic, and it will really give you a feel for Alaska, but in a very private, very secluded, very special way. And then you will return back to Anchorage in another float plane for the end of your journey. You spend a couple of nights in Anchorage exploring that area, and then home. So again, this is just a suggestion, but I hope that you will consider this if you're thinking about going to Alaska and doing it in a great new way. The other option that I want to share with you is doing some of the Western national parks, but with a private jet. And I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. The dates are flexible. The prime weather is from May to September. And again, this will be a 10-day suggested itinerary starting up in Jackson, Wyoming, and ending in a place called Page, Arizona, near Lake Powell, right on the border between um, Arizona and Utah. Sorry, I was trying to figure that out in a map in my mind. The highlights, of course, here will be not only Jackson Hole, but the opportunity to see Yellowstone and Grand Teton, then going south to a town called Moab in southern Utah, which is really the gateway for Canyonlands and Bryce and Zion and some of these fantastic national parks, ending at Grand Canyon, and then the opportunity to also see the Navajo slot canyons. You'll be staying at some of the finest resorts in the West, the two Aman resorts, Amangani and Amangiri in Wyoming and Utah, respectively, as well as a private ranch estate and the Sorel River Ranch. So every single one of these resorts is going to be completely different, but it is absolutely the very finest that there is wherever they are located. And again, the itinerary can be customized and extended. So let me show you on a map the two main areas that this itinerary explores is the northwest of Wyoming and then the southeast of Utah. I just wanted you to get this sense of the two locations on the map. And instead of the long drive from Wyoming to Utah that can take as long as 9 hours to reach where you're going, TCS is going to arrange for you to fly by private jet, which of course takes a little over an hour, and boom, you're there, and it saves you a tremendous amount of time. As I mentioned, in Jackson, you will be staying at Amangani, and this is the picture of the resort, and with this amazing view of the Tetons the minute you look out of your room in the morning. And this is an absolutely magnificent national park. These are probably the most photographed mountains out west, just because they are just so beautiful and so stunning, and because you have this long plain all in front of here. And then north of the Tetons, you have Yellowstone, which, as you know, was the very first national park that was set by President Grant way back when in the 19th century. And this is what is called the Great Prismatic Lake, because most of Yellowstone is actually a stratovolcano. That's just why you have all these fumaroles and all of these scalding water and all these springs and old faithful and so on and so forth, but also a phenomenal abundance of wildlife during your safari around Yellowstone that TCS will provide. You will absolutely have a chance to see bison that are always so impressive. So from here, you fly down to Moab, and you will stay at the Sorel River Ranch, which is this beautiful resort right on the river. And this is a wonderful gateway for Arches National Park. And yes, you absolutely have to take your picture under this particular arch that is called Delicate Arch, if I'm not mistaken. And also the gateway for Zion National Park, which had a former Native American name that nobody could pronounce, and then in the early 20th century they changed it to in the 20th century they named it Zion, and this is what it has been called since. And I want you to see Zion not only from the higher elevations and you can see the canyon below, but also take advantage of the opportunity to explore these canyons below and then look up at these towering, massive rock formations that are just so impressive. And in this part of the world, because there really are no true luxury hotels, you will be staying in a private ranch home with privacy and luxury and seclusion and the whole bit. And the other park from here to see is, of course, Bryce a Canyon, which is absolutely fantastic, especially at sunrise and sunset. And then finally, you will arrive at the Grand Canyon, and you will have an opportunity to travel with a special guide that will take you to some of the less visited trails and vantage points in the Grand Canyon. And while in this part of the world, please promise me that you will take advantage of visiting the Navajo slot canyons, which is offered on this TCS trip with a honest to goodness Navajo guide, and not only see this particular slot canyon, which is called Antelope, which is the most famous, but you will also see some other slot canyons that are off limits and that regular visitors don't get a chance to see because they are absolutely amazing. So I hope I have given you some ideas here about how to do Alaska and the national parks in a different way that is private and very, very special. So from here, I'm going to give you other thoughts on how to explore with new adventures close to home done differently. And this is with a mountain travel Sobek. And this company needs no introduction. They have over 50 years of experience. They absolutely have the quality guides, the service, and the choices for the traveler. They have always been known for the emphasis on active holidays. So this can be rafting and kayaking and hiking and so on and so forth. Mountain Travel Sobek has programs for solo travelers, for families, for women only, for couples, and also small groups. And there are many choices in North America. And again, there is a custom travel desk that can create a bespoke itinerary just for you, your whoever you're traveling with, or your family, or friends. So I'm going to give you two ideas here to choose from. The first one is doing the San Juan Islands in Washington State. This is a very easy program because it is 4 nights and 5 days. The program can also be customized, but normally it is offered as a small group with up to 10 guests, and you begin and end in a place called Friday Harbor, which is in the San Juan Islands, not too far from Seattle. So Seattle would be your closest airport that you would fly to, and then Mountain Travel Sobek would transfer you back and forth to Friday Harbor. The highlights here are the islands, which are absolutely beautiful. Every one of them has a different personality. It's a chance to be out in nature, kayaking and hiking, and really enjoying the views, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. Most of your meals are included, and there are a number of wonderful experiences where you will have a chance to have beachside barbecues and al fresco picnics and so on and so forth, and also go out on zodiac rides in search of marine wildlife. You will stay at a small inn in Friday Harbor called the Earthbox, and this will be kind of your base camp. And then every day you will go off with a guide, of course, in different directions, and then you will come in the evening to Earthbox. And the minimum age here is 13 and up. Departures for this part of the world, the best weather will be June to September of this year. So in a map of Washington, you see Friday Harbor up at the top, and those are the San Juan Islands, located roughly between the Washington coast and the southern tip of Vancouver Island. An absolutely beautiful part of the world, as you have these mountain ranges and these beautiful islands and great landscapes. It's absolutely fantastic. And this is the view from one of the San Juan Islands. And I just wanted to give you a sense how close these high mountains are to the ocean. And you have these just stunning vistas with the snow-capped peaks right near the ocean. And yes, you will have a chance to have many adventures with Mountain Travel Sobek, as I mentioned, kayaking and hiking and zodiac rides and so on and so forth. So there will be plenty of activity for you to choose from every day. love this shot of going out on a boat to explore some of the different islands. As you can see, some of them are uninhabited, but very, very beautiful. And every island has its own personality, you will find, and it's every around every corner will be something new and surprising. And I hope that during your stay you'll have a chance to see an orca whale breaching, or something completely unexpected. And one of the stops on this trip is a place called Lopez Island and the San Juan Islands National Monument, with these beautiful views. And then you have the snow cap mountains in the distance. And the way to get around, the best way to get around, is on these short ferries to and from Friday Harbor, to make life simple, and also to bring down the cost of the overall trip. And this is where you will be staying, is this small boutique hotel called Earthbox, which is right in Friday Harbor, walking distance to the ferry pier. So this would be one option in the Pacific Northwest. And suppose you wanted to do something totally different with either a small group or custom, and you wanted to go rafting in an adventure on the Colorado River, then I would highly recommend Mountain Travel Sobek's the Utah Cataract Canyon, because this traverses some of the most extraordinary scenery in the US. So this is a Moab, Utah round trip program with a charter flight that brings you back. All told, you travel through about 94 miles of river from start to finish. And this is available for couples or single travelers or families or friends traveling together. Again, it's a 4-night, 5-day program, so you can easily attach other parts of the West and put this as a component. There is a guide and of course a team and a support group with you the entire time. And you not only have the opportunity to raft every day, but also to hike, kayak, swim, and even stand up paddleboard in certain parts where there are these areas of the river that where the water's very calm, and you can actually go a stand up paddleboard. And the highlights, of course, are the views from the Colorado River, the Canyonlands National Park, and then finally Lake Powell. And I will show you some photographs in just a moment. And on this journey, you will stay in tented camps along the river, but don't worry, these are very comfortable tented camps, and the Mountain Travel Sobek team will set up camp every single day and arrange for all the meals and the cookouts and so on and so forth. So in a map of Utah, this kind of rectangle that I have put here in red is just to give you a sense of the journey from where you start to where you finish. But you do travel through some of the most beautiful country in the West, and some amazing vistas from the Colorado River. And as you can see in this picture, the best way to appreciate these canyons is from the middle of the river, because you get the view on both sides, and there you are in the middle of the water. You feel so insignificant in your raft, because these towering mountains are hundreds of feet high, with these amazing red rock formations that change color throughout the day. And certainly one of the highlights will be traveling through this part of the world. And canyonlands, you have these dramatic turns in the river, and the opportunity to really feel nature, because you are in such a remote part of the world, and there will be times where you will be rafting for hours and not see another a human being. And then as you start approaching south, the canyon will get higher and higher and higher, and finally you end up in Lake Powell, which has these very unusual rock formations, and this will be the end of the journey. But I hope that you will consider these two adventures and many other possibilities that Mount Travel Sobek has, to go rafting, to go hiking, to be active in your vacation this year, with many open departures. And make sure that at night, don't just go to bed. You may be tired from the rafting, but stay up if you can, just to see the amazing night sky, because the views are unbelievable, because there's no light pollution. So after all this running around, I think we need to go to a resort and be on a beautiful beach. So here's an idea for you and what I call the rebirth of a legend, and that would be Half Moon, which is a beautiful resort in Jamaica on the north coast near Montego Bay. And this is a very famous property because it was originally founded in the 1950s by a group of investors that each had a little cottage on this one particular beach, and then it grew from there. But a lot of very famous people have stayed at Half Moon: Queen Elizabeth, JFK, a lot of other celebrities have stayed here over the years. And the nice thing is that you have three resorts in one. You have the original resort, which is the Founders Cove. You have Eclipse, which is fairly new and modern, and then the Rose Hall Villas. The entire property has been recently renovated and enhanced, and you have 2 miles of beach and a whole range of activities to choose from: golf and tennis and fitness and horseback riding, and a lot of activities not only on property but off property as well. For those of you that don't know, Jamaica, Montego Bay is on the north coast, and Half Moon is a very short drive from Montego Bay Airport. And on arrival, this will probably be one of the first beaches that you will see, which is the main beach at Founders Cove. And I am a bit of a beach connoisseur because I'm from Cuba. So I'm very particular. And I have to tell you, this beach is one of my favorite beaches in Jamaica because there's a reef that protects it, and it is just absolutely wonderful. So this beach gets an A plus in my book. And these are some of the dining venues that you have to choose from during your stay at Half Moon. Everything from Italian to perhaps eating under the trees and enjoying all these different venues. And then, as far as your guest rooms, you have a choice of perhaps staying in one of the guest rooms at Founders Cove or Eclipse, or in a villa that will have anywhere from 5 to 7 bedrooms with a dedicated staff and pool. So when you arrive at the Founders Cove, if this is where you're staying, then this would be your view with the ocean in the background. And this would be just a couple of pictures of the rooms just to give you a sense of the core in the design. You definitely know that you're in Jamaica because of the mahogany furniture and the dark wood tones. And then this is the newer part of the property called Eclipse, which is a little bit more modern. Right on the ocean, this wonderful beach. And then when you arrive at Eclipse, this would be your view of the reception area, and these are your sleeping rooms. Obviously, in keeping with the Half Moon spirit, but in a bit of a more modern, more contemporary design. And then finally, you have the Half Moon villas, which are located here, some closer to the ocean, some a little bit further back, each with its own staff and privacy and seclusion, and frankly, very good value for money because you have up to 7 bedrooms under one roof, and you figure you have a couple of children that can stay in one bed, so you could have 10, 15 people staying under one roof, which makes it very good value for money. And in terms of activities, you have everything from golf, as I mentioned, or there's a wonderful spa, there's bicycle and tennis. And off property, you can go rafting, you can go hiking, you can go to Dunn's River Falls, or you can do any number of things that the hotel's concierge can arrange for you. So on property, you can either stand up paddleboard or perhaps spend time at the spa or play golf. And if you ask me, one activity that is just so unusual and distinctive, then I would probably say it's swimming with the horses at Half Moon, which is just a very special thing. I have never done this particular activity, but the next time I'm there, I'm signing up for this. And then off property, you can go to Dunn's River Falls here on the left, and Martha Bray rafting. If Dunn's River Falls look familiar, is because this was in a James Bond movie years and years ago. I know I'm dating myself. That was called Dr. No. I don't know if you saw it, but one of the last scenes in the movie was shot here in Jamaica. And then for those of you feeling energetic, you can go hiking in the Blue Mountains, which is always fun. And if you're not feeling energetic and you just want to sit by the pool, then how about a chair and with your own umbrella right by the ocean? Sounds good to me. So a couple of parting thoughts before I go. One is, to keep discovering. And the world is opening up, and there are so many possibilities and so many opportunities this year to take advantage of. So I hope to see you out and about very soon. And I want to thank you for being a great audience and for listening today. Thank you so much.